45 here, and sorry for the lack of videos recently. So for one thing, school has started, and for the other thing, the place where I usually film is currently infested with spiders. So until I get an exterminator there, I cannot film there. So that's the main reason there have been less videos. I don't want to get bitten by a spider. So yeah, let's just get into this. I'll be going over random stuff I've watched recently. This is just the stuff I've watched this month. No, this isn't just the stuff I've watched this month. This is stuff like I've watched beyond this month. But yeah, this is just a huge list of stuff I've watched recently. And yeah, this is going to be like a relaxing thing for me right now because I've been busy all weekend doing stuff and hanging out with people. So I just want to chill out and make a video. So yeah, let's get into it. Jungle Cruise. I don't know how I feel about this movie anymore. I dislike it, but it's kind of fun. Like, if I had to rate it, I'd rate it 2.5 stars, but it was fun, was the issue. All the characters were extremely annoying. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Emily Blunt is probably the most annoying, sadly, because Emily Blunt is one of my favorite actresses. I mean, Sicario is probably my favorite example. But this movie just felt lifeless. Like, there's nothing in it that's interesting. It's just, you've seen it all before. Like, for the first 30 minutes, I was enjoying myself. Then I realized it was a 2-hour-long movie. And, yeah, I was bored. Not as bad as Black Widow, but still pretty bad. Some of the CGI was just terrible. And Jesse Plemons. My hatred for Jesse Plemons' acting roles continue. I do not like Jesse Plemons. Ever since I'm thinking of ending things, I cannot stand him. But yeah, Jungle Cruise. Then I rewatched Robert Rodriguez's second best film, in my opinion, Desperado. So this movie is just the definition of a chill-out movie. Like, I needed to relax after doing something, and I just turned this on, and I just chilled out. It's just relaxing. Like, you have all the action, you have callbacks to El Mariachi, which is better in my opinion, but it's just pure fun. I would give it 5 out of 5, but I just really, like, enjoy it. Like, I'll wholeheartedly admit it's not the best movie, but a guitar case bazooka. That's all I have to say. Then I watched Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins for the 3rd time and came down on it. I still really enjoy this movie. I think that's a controversial opinion, but I don't really care if it is or not. But I just really enjoy this movie. Like, again, it's like seeing my childhood brought to life, sort of, because it changes his origin to be a bit more generic than his original origin, which is much more interesting. But it's fun. It's actually got some cool shots, unironically. Like, it's got some great shots compared to, like, even Jungle Cruise, which I wish was amazing because it's made by the guy who made The Shallows, which is one of my favorite movies, period. But yeah, Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, I already talked about it in one video. It was fun, like nothing else to it. Has a crazy finale, a great score. I just really enjoy it. Then I rewatched Dirty Harry. In my opinion, changed completely. I used to think it was an average movie, and now it's one of my favorite movies. There's just something about this movie. It's like a combination of, like, Miss 45, Zodiac, and Lethal Weapon. It's like, and those are 3 of my favorite movies, except for maybe not Lethal Weapon. It's got some, I adore Lethal Weapon 2 and 3, but the first one is just pretty good, even though I can quote, like, every line from it. But Dirty Harry, I do not know what I was on when I first saw this movie, but it is indeed not a 3-star movie, but a 5-star movie. It's incredibly tense, it's extremely quotable. I mean, the most famous moment is the, "Go ahead, punk, make my day, make my day." Like, and then there's just something about it. Eastwood is at his best. He he delivers probably my favorite performance from him. He's just a grimy, sleazy cop who's just... Then there are so many random humorous bits too that are just like complete misunderstandings. The city is always dark. It's like a mix of Zodiac and Miss 45, if that makes sense. Although I think it's better than Zodiac, but it's nowhere near up to the level of Miss 45 in my opinion. But it is so, so, so good. Like, it would be in a top 50 if I made one. Like, it's amazing. Like, what else is there to say? There's just something about it that, like, clicked with me. I used to not like these type of movies, but then I started watching them more, and now I like them. Gonna get a drink of water here. Okay. So yeah, Dirty Harry, masterpiece. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Now I need to see Sudden Impact and Absolute Force and Tightrope. But yeah, I guess that this is also unintentional preparation for Cry Macho, which I plan to go see. But expect some Eastwood videos soon. But yeah, The Village. This is one of my top 10 favorite movies. The Village is a masterpiece. So, when discussing post 9/11 films, The Village is the best example in my opinion. It's all paranoid, it's all one community, there's one big attack that starts it all. It's hard to explain, but once you see it with the subtext of it being released after 9/11, it all of a sudden starts making a lot more sense. It's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen, which this was a rewatch, but it was way more horrifying than I remembered. And there's just this off feeling to it. Like, it's hard to describe, but it just hits me like a few films do. Like, I'll just leave off there, and the twist is amazing. That final shot is one of the most haunting things I've ever seen, like, period. The Village, one of my favorite movies. Batman vs. Superman, another one of my favorite movies. So, a lot of people hate this movie, but I love it. There's just something about it. It's like, it doesn't try and be a Marvel film. That's the main reason I like it. Like, it's its own thing completely, and it's this grittier, darker take on, like, just the superhero genre. And it's all about the morality of superhero. It does everything Civil War should have done, basically. It takes all the problems Civil War had and just fixes them, like, and makes it so much better. And the visuals are stunning. The opening scene is amazing. Like, holy crap. I watched the Ultimate Edition and my mind was blown by some of it. Like, the Ultimate Edition is legitimately one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But it, like, man, it spoke to me when I watched it this time. But yeah, Batman v Superman, 5 out of 5. Gods of Egypt. I don't know what to say about this movie. I really don't know what to say. I'm gonna have to do a review video for it, but I just, like, I have no words to describe it. Like, that, I'm just gonna end it off there. And then I watched one of the, I think I only have one Ghibli film left now, Whisper of the Heart, which is one of the Ghibli films I needed to see. And it instantly became my favorite Ghibli film for many reasons. I got my vaccine right before watching it, and I was feeling really down, and then I watched it and I just felt so much better. Like, it's probably the most warm, loving, one of the most warm, loving films I've ever seen. It's just like a massive warm blanket. I already picked up a copy, I already own it. It just spoke to me. Like, the main character felt like me, if that makes sense. I connected with her on another level, and the visuals are stunning. But yeah, not the best animation film I watched, but it's up there. Ratatouille, masterpiece. Don't really feel like I need to elaborate. If you've seen Ratatouille, that final scene with Anton is 10 out of 10. But yeah, The Suicide Squad. I don't know how to feel about this movie. So, on one hand, it's a great adaptation, but on the other hand, the just nihilism of it did not click. See, I used to enjoy more nihilistic type movies where it was just like random death and stuff like that, and just shocking, unexpected deaths. But that stuff really doesn't click with me anymore. Like, I used to love A Clockwork Orange, and now I really don't like it because of some of the certain things that are in it. Not like anything controversial about it. It's what Kubrick had to do to frame those scenes the way he did that I find messed up. And I used to love that movie. I used to think it was a 5 out of 5, but now I can't stand it. But yeah, the Suicide Squad has that same nihilism issue where it just feels like he's killing characters off for show and for no specific reason. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but just it didn't click. But it was fun. That was the issue. Like, I enjoyed it, but it was just way too nihilistic for me. Like, I hate to say it, but it was just too nihilistic. It's hard for me to expand on that if you haven't seen it and without spoiling it. But, like, the opening scene just, I don't know, like, it didn't do it for me. Then I watched Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. It's a masterpiece. Don't feel like I need to expand on that. One of the greatest final acts in film history, one of the greatest films in film history, some of the best visuals in film history. I watched it when I couldn't get any sleep and the film just clicked with me. Like, I don't think it's my favorite movie, but I just love it. Like, it's not even my favorite Hitchcock. Like, again, that's either To Catch a Thief, Marnie, or Rebecca. Probably Rebecca. But Vertigo, it's a masterpiece. Don't feel like I need to expand on that. I may do a whole separate video just discussing Vertigo because I have a lot of feelings on it. It's one of those movies that doesn't go on a second more than it needs to and just hits. Like, it could have ended a few places, but where it ends is perfection. But yeah. Then I watched Free Guy. That's all I have to say about it. It was kinda cringy, Jodie Corner was great, and that's all I have to say. Then I watched Creed. I adore the Rocky franchise. Rocky 5, Rocky 3, Rocky 2, Rocky, Creed. Creed is one of my favorites of the franchise. It's not up there with Rocky 5 or the original, or Rocky 3 in my opinion, but I just love it. Like, it's hard to explain, but it takes the original and just fills it with... It doesn't feel disingenuous. Like, all these modern blockbuster remakes that are just like, how do I say it? Like, famous movie continuations of movies with like huge legacies like Star Wars. Like, that's the best example. Like, Rise of Skywalker is terrible. But Creed, thank God, didn't end up like Rise of Skywalker. It ends up actually being this emotional journey about someone trying to move on beyond their name. And it's visually beautiful, and that final fight is like, that's cinema right there. That's cinema. But yeah. Then I watched Evangelion 1.0 and 2.0, the rebuild films. I love Evangelion. I will watch anything Evangelion. I love it that much. Neon Genesis Evangelion is probably... No, Neon Genesis Evangelion is my favorite TV show of all time. And then Neon Genesis Evangelion, The End of Evangelion, is my favorite movie of the 90s. And now I get to watch the rebuild films, which just recreate beautiful moments with smoother animation. So these are both 5 out of 5s. So 1.0 is just a rehash of the first 2 episodes, but then 2.0 goes batshit insane with the final episodes. No, not episodes, the ending. It takes the ending a different route. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but it has legitimately one of the most beautifully animated scenes I've ever seen. Like, no spoilers, but like, 2.0 is top tier favorite for me right now. I adore 2.0 like I adore Evangelion in general. But yeah, Evangelion 1.0 and 2.0. If you love Evangelion, you're gonna love these. And again, the animation is probably the best I've seen in a long time. 2.0 has one of the best opening scenes I've ever seen. It's so smooth and fluid, but we'll get to 3.0 later. Then I watched Sinadoke New York. Sorry, mispronounced that. And I hated it. I despised it. Again, when I was talking about nihilistic, depressing for no reason films, this was one of them. It just feels like you're trying to... I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, it's just completely nihilistic. Like, from the opening scene, I hated the main character. Like, you're supposed to sympathize with him, but he does so many things that are like... No. Like, I did not like Caden as a character. Philip Seymour Hoffman gives a great performance, though. May he rest in peace. But it just felt nihilistic and depressing for no reason. Like, sure, there are a bunch of little details, but I really could care less about them. It was just so unempathetic and nihilistic and depressing in a way that I didn't... Like, I like depressing movies, but it's the way it shows the depression that I didn't like. But yeah, Sinadoke New York, I hated it. Then Hero, 5 out of 5 again. This was one of my favorites when I first started watching movies. And now I just appreciate it even more. Visually, it's probably one of the best movies of the 2000s visually. And yeah, it's something else. The Donnie Yen fight is one of the best things put to wuxia film, period. And then there's the let's see, fight with flying snow, which is one of the most... The scene by the lake is legitimately one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen. And then that quote, the quote that always sticks with me is the final bit where he goes, "What 2 words did he write down? Our land." And then it all just hits you like a truck when a certain thing happens at the end. Hero's a masterpiece. If you haven't seen Hero, please watch it. It's not Dragon Inn level wuxia or Come Drink With Me level wuxia, but it's a masterpiece visually. Then I watched 21 Jump Street. Pure fun. All that needs to be said. Then I watched Now You See Me 1 and 2. These are 2 of the dumbest movies I've ever seen, but they're fun. I really don't know what to say. These are just dumb. Like, they think they're so smart, but they just have no idea what they're doing. They're just dumb. That's all I have to say about them. Then I watched Rehearsals for Retirement, and what did Jack do? Rehearsals for Retirement is a masterpiece. I'm not going to say anything about it. Go watch it. Yeah, definitely go watch it. But yeah, I'm not going to say anything about it because you should really just see it. Then What Did Jack Do is a masterpiece. Sort of. Then I watched Lupin the Third, The Castle of Cagliostro, another Ghibli film. I love heist movies, and I love just movies like this. It's an amazing film. Like, it's beautifully animated, and it's hilarious humor-wise. Then I watched The Green Knight. I was pretty disappointed. It had some beautiful visuals, but just felt like your average A24 film. The issue is A24 films now have a shtick, where they don't feel like original anymore. They just feel like average A24 stuff. Like, nothing in The Green Knight feels special. Like, I already forgot I watched it. Like, that's sad. It has some great visuals, I guess, but the visuals are also forgettable, and the lighting is terrible. But the music is great, and the acting is I didn't like it that much. And the score is the best part. I'm just mixed on The Green Knight. Then I watched Bad Trip, and it was amazing. That's all I'm going to say. It's on Netflix. It's got Eric Andre, and has one of the funniest credit sequences I've ever seen. Go watch it. Then I watched Fun with Dick and Jane, and it was okay. All that needs to be said, it's got a few funny scenes, and that's it. Then I watched Evangelion 3.0. This is my favorite movie of the decade right now. No spoiling, just no spoilers. Ooh boy. I can't really say anything about it without spoiling it, because you have to see 1.0, 2.0, and the original Evangelion to understand it. But, like, that final act. Ooh boy. That's all I gotta say. Evangelion 3.0 is the easy. It's instantly in, like, my top 10, top 15, or maybe even top 5. Like, Anno is the GOAT for a reason. Then the last film I watched recently was Rango, and it was way better than I remembered. It was hilarious, it was fun, it had a great animation, and yeah. And then I guess I'll include Jackass number 2 too. Loved it, pure fun, gets better every rewatch. Sorry this video went on so long. And yeah, expect some James Bond reviews probably soon. And yeah, expect maybe some James Bond reviews, and that's about it. So yeah, stay safe and have a good day.